Let's head to Melbourne, where embattled Liberal leader John Pesutto has officially been kicked out of the top job after a tumultuous few days.
Will Brad do a better job than you?
Well, we're all behind Brad now and we're focused on winning the next election in 2026.
Now, former police officer and business owner Brad Battin is the new opposition leader after toppling Pesutto during a leadership spill.
I very much appreciate the support I've had from my party. It is now our time to come out as a united team, to show you that we are the team to go into government in 701 days' time. It is just 100 weeks. That 100 weeks is our opportunity to put forward our message to ensure that Victorians know they can trust us to take into government policies that are in the best interest of each of them.
Expelled MP Moira Deeming was also readmitted at the same meeting.
I think they're probably wondering how I'm going to react to them, and to be honest, it's been a bit difficult, but a few people shook my hands. I have to actually give credit to John Pesutto. He did shake my hand and say sorry to me personally.
Now, among the Liberal MPs who orchestrated the coup was Richard Riordan, and he joins me now. Richard, thank you for your time tonight. It wasn't exactly a quiet summer that perhaps some of the party may have been hoping for. Why were you involved in staging this coup?
Well, a coup's an exotic way of saying leadership change, Caroline. But look, thanks for the invitation. It was important for Victorian Liberals, for the Victorian people, and for the party as a whole, supporters, people that want better government here in Victoria, that we got our issues sorted before we started another year. The start of 2026 will mean we're just under 2 years until Victorians get to have a say again in how this state is run. There is no doubt, with more debt than any other state in Australia, with crippling energy crisis on our doorstep. Our roads are crumbling here in Victoria. There is a mess with a government that is taxing mum and dads, homeowners, rental providers. Everything's heading in the wrong direction here in Victoria, and it was important that the Liberal Party was in its best position and it's putting its best foot forward to start 2026. And look, at the end of the day, today was a work day. There are thousands of Victorians out working all over the state today, and particularly our volunteers. And I'd certainly like to make mention of all our hardworking CFA and SES volunteers that are doing the hard yards at the Grampian fires. There's no reason why we couldn't get on with government and make sure that we're putting the best foot forward for all Victorians. Do you think the party will unite behind Brad Battin now as the new leader? John Pesutto sounded like he will, but do you think that was genuine himself? Oh, look, I have no doubt. The party room was overwhelming, over 70% in favour of Brad. It's probably the largest margin a leader has come in the Victorian Liberal Party for quite some time. It's a resounding result from our party membership and our MPs. We've now got the Moira issue well and truly resolved, which has caused unending heartache for many inside and outside the party. We are on a great footing. There's a great team there. Brad not only brings to the job enormous small business experience, but also law and order. And both those issues are so important in Victoria today. And there's a great group of people alongside Brad that will be able to bring the opposition Victorians desperately want, one that is focused fully on Victorians, the best outcomes for Victorians, and most of all, Caroline, restoring the pride that Victoria so desperately wants. We don't want to be the highest taxing, the most indebted, the one with the most crumbling roads, with hospital waiting lists and law and order out of control. That's what we're about, and we're going to be able to show that very quickly and promptly. We've got 2 very critical by-elections here in Victoria, and we will be in a wonderful place to present to Victoria the opposition they want to see. There's been so much criticism for such a long time, Richard, about the Victorian Liberal Party, that it's been too consumed but within fighting, especially over Moira Deeming, and it hasn't been able to offer a strong alternative to the Labor government. Do you really think Brad will be able to overcome all of that, or will it stick? I have no doubt Brad will bring it together. Brad's a great team player. He's shown great loyalty and commitment to not only the Liberal Party but the leadership teams that have been in place. We've had an issue in the Victorian Liberal Party. It needed to be resolved. It was resolved today, resoundingly resolved. There's a new leadership team in place. Everyone's well aware of what the Victorian community wants, and we're going to work well with our national partners, the National Party in coalition, to deliver not only a plan for here in Melbourne, but right across the state, from Mildura to Gippsland, right across the breadth of this state. There is a desperate need for better policies, a better approach, and a responsible government that restores control and impetus back to communities. We want a Victoria that you can be proud of, where your hard work, your effort is rewarded. Not only is it rewarded, but the benefits flow on to everyone in the state. And that's been sadly lacking here in Victoria for a long time. Reward for effort is a cornerstone of good Liberal policy, and that's one that Brad and the team will absolutely deliver to all Victorians.
You mentioned law and order earlier. Obviously, I said Brad Battin, has been a former cop. He has said he will be tough on crime. There is a big youth crime crisis in particular there in Victoria. How will a Battin government overcome that if you guys were elected?
Well, quite simply, Brad has been our police spokesman for a while, but there is one thing missing here in Victoria, and that's responsibility. Whether it's giving the police and law enforcement agencies the responsibility they need to keep people safe in their homes, in their streets, and in their businesses. That's been missing here in Victoria. We've moved to a state where no one's responsible for anything. People aren't responsible for their own actions. The police are unable to fulfil their duties because they've been so over-regulated and controlled by the state, and not allowing them to use discretion and good, common, old-fashioned policing principles that have served communities so well for so long. That's what we'll see different here in Victoria. We're not going to have a state where people just feel that everyone gets away with anything all the time because the government no longer cares. We want a Victorian population. We want a community that knows that its government's got its back, will put the laws and the policies in place that keep people safe. We don't want a situation where people are no longer safe in their homes, no longer safe in their streets. And quite frankly, I'm tired of small business operators and others contacting me about shoplifting and petty theft and other things, and just know that no one will do anything about it. These things have to stop in Victoria. Victorians are tired of it.
Well, let's hope some things change in the new year. Richard Riordan, thank you so much for joining me this evening.